Merry Christmas out there in YouTube land. I haven't picked up any of my regular comics this week, but luckily I come from a family who likes lists at Christmas time. So I keep an Amazon wish list filled with all sorts of graphic novel stuff that I might not pick up on a regular basis or ever see in the comic shop. So that when my birthday or Christmas comes around, I get some interesting stuff. And here's the first of them that I got this year. Masterful Marx, cartoonists who changed the world. 16 comic biographies. And the basic idea is that, let me see if I can find the right introduction page here that tells you everyone who's in it. Yeah, I should have marked this, huh? But it's got, well, I guess I couldn't find it. There's the Siegel and Schuster biography. Biography of, I don't even, they got like Robert Crumb, Jack Kirby biography. This is that gory guy. So they have little cartoon biographies of famous cartoonists. Oh, there's a nice Frontline Combat Harvey Kurtzman piece. He must be in there. So it's all sorts of fame. You know, there's the page I want. That's everybody who's in there. Hergé, creator of Tintin, by, was that Nora Krug? Harvey Kurtzman by Peter Cooper. Al Hirschfeld by Arnold Roth. So it's filled with little cartoon biographies of cartoonists by cartoonists. I thought that was a pretty interesting little book to put on my list. And I'll have to let you know how it is. Next we have Bumperhead by Gilbert Hernandez. Now, I had no idea what this one is about before I read the back blurb. Bumperhead is a teenage boy's view of the world, passionate, fragmented, sentimental, and angry. I just saw that Gilbert Hernandez had a new book out and put it on my wish list because that's pretty much all the information I need to get a book. Is that if I like Gilbert Hernandez, I follow his work. He's one of the Love and Rockets guys, the brothers who do it, Jaime is his brother. Jaime's the one who does the really pretty graphic black and white sort of drawings. Gilbert's stuff is a little less pretty, but he's a wonderful storyteller. He's a good writer too. He often does stories about little kids too. That just reminded me seeing that panel. I think Marble Season was the last thing I saw by him, which was about little kids that I have on my shelf. But there we go. Nice cover. I guess whoever this kid is, he grew up to be a punk rocker. And it looks like, according to the back, we have this kid through various ages, from child to teenager to young adult to middle-aged guy. So, looking forward to reading this one. I'm always up for a Gilbert Hernandez graphic novel, and this one fits the bill. And here we go. Since these two are both small, I figured I'd put them up together, and they kind of look good together. The first one I don't know much about, besides I read something about it online, and I really liked that cover. Michael Cho, Shoplifter. There's a whole thing on the back. Bjork used to have big plans. Here's a brilliant debut graphic novel about a young woman's search for happiness and self-fulfillment in the big city. I like that sort of story. It's, like I said, let's open it up here and show you a little bit of the looks like it's black, white, and pink. Some very graphic style art here with just sharp black and sharp white. No hatching lines or much shading. Just sort of this, I like this style of artwork. That's a nice shot right there. I guess it's a coming of age story. Like I said, I liked the cover when I saw it online. I think I read a little something about it. So I decided to go for it. The next is Rick Geary, Trotsky, the Soviet leader from the Russian Revolution period. Rick Geary is one of those guys who I love his He does a lot of historical work. I like his work a lot. I got 10 or 20 Rick Geary books on my shelf. I think the Treasury of Victorian Murders was one of his was a series he did, doing all historical real life stuff, and this is his general style. It gives you sort of these straightforward shots and a lot of storytelling and a lot of historical stuff in the balloons or whatever it is. Like I said, he's one. I see he's got a new work out. I pick it up, and there's pretty much not. There's not much I wouldn't pick up from Rick Geary, and so this was definitely a must-have. It went on my wish list, and now I have it. Next we have Action Mystery Thrills, comic book covers of the Golden Age. This is a Fantagraphics book. Once again, it's something I wouldn't normally see in the comic shop or whatever. I happened to stumble across it on Amazon, and it's a whole collection of comic book covers from the Golden Age. There's Superman, Marvel Mystery Comics, Top Notch Comics, Silver Streak Comics. I mean, just page after page after page. Daredevil battles Hitler. That's a famous cover of Golden Age goodness. I mean, it's this, I gotta say this, it's this trade paperback glued binding, which I'm sure won't hold up over the years, but what the heck. It wasn't that expensive a book. It was like a $20 book, a $30, let's see, where was the price on it on Amazon? Of course, it was cheaper on Amazon, it's probably $20 on Amazon, not 30. How could you not like a book that's entirely made up of Golden Age comic book covers? I couldn't pass it up. Put it on my wish list when someone in my family got it for me, and I'm grateful for that. And next we have Glory, the Complete Saga by Joe Keatinge, I don't know, and Ross Campbell. I don't know much about this book. It's from Image, right? Yeah, Image book. Except I've read a few times that it's a pretty good comic. Oh, look at that giant monster cat blasting something in half. Oh, there's a nice. I guess those are all the characters. I said I don't know anything about Glory. Looks pretty good, except I like these, oversized what do they call them? Ultimate editions that Image puts out. So this made it onto my wish list on Amazon and made it to me for Christmas. So like I said, I really have no idea what to expect from this book. But I'll let you know if it's any good. The final book I have here is this extremely thick Walt Before Skeezix book. I don't know how many of you out there know this. There have been let's see, 5 Walt and Skeezix books so far, which is actually the comic strip Gasoline Alley. It's from, I think this stuff is from the late 1910s, and the stuff in the 5 volumes is all from the 1920s. And though the comic strip is in the public domain, the name Gasoline Alley is not in the public domain. So that they've been publishing this under the name Walt and Skeezix because that's the 2 main characters in Gasoline Alley who the strip's about. And this is actually from before Skeezix. Walt is this guy right here. He was a bachelor living in somewhere in Chicago, I think, and hanging out with his. This is all when cars were just first starting to affect the American way of life, and Gasoline Alley was named that because all these characters here who he's talking to 18 through 1920. They all had their cars in this one alley that they all had garages in, and if you had a car in 1919, you were a hobbyist. Your car was your hobby. It wasn't anything that like today, where you go to the dealership and you buy a car and you don't think about it. You actually had to work on your car and keep it running and keep it fit. So this is all that's what Walt was, and then they changed the strip in 1921, I guess, to make it more of a family strip, and Walt found a baby on his doorstep, and then from then on, the strip became about the alley gang and all their families and Walt, and it's a very, very good comic strip. It's one I never read before they started publishing these books. I just happened to pick up the first volume of Walt and Skeezix on a whim, because it was on sale at the comic shop one day, and I really, really liked the comic. I was amazed at how much I liked this comic strip, because though I like some comic strips, Gasoline Alley was never one that I had much affection for, but, I was reading Gasoline Alley 80 years after the beginning ones, so. But this one has, pardon me, this one has a lot of single-page, single-panel strips. And because he really hadn't worked out the format yet in square panel strip, it became like a 4-panel strip day, 4 panels a day strip. But before then, he just filled up this square with whatever. And there is actually a lot of, because I think these ones are being done in conjunction with his family. So there's a lot of family photographs in this series. There's a lot of his sketches. There's a sketch over that side. There's some more. There's a lot of biographical material and extra material that comes with these books that is quite good. So, if you got a hankering for reading, an old-time comic strip, I'd say start with Walt and Skeezix. This is actually like volume 0 or something. I don't know what they call it. But, it's Walt before Skeezix. Start with, you can actually pick up any volume of Walt and Skeezix rather than Walt before Skeezix, because this is, not the prime stuff, but the proto-prime stuff where they're moving up to that. So, let me fold that back over. This is too big to fit on my easel. Oh, well, anyway, Walt and Skeezix, good comic. I'll be back on Saturday when I finally get my new comics for the week. But until then, what did you get for Christmas?